Wanda. Commissioners Court of Brazos County will meet in regular session on April 21st, 2026 at 10 a.m. Commissioners Courtroom, the County Administration Building, 200 South Texas Avenue, Suite 106. First item on the agenda is identification, pledge of allegiance of the U.S. and Texas flag. Commissioner Conlon will lead those.
Lord, thank you for the Eucharist, the cross, and our salvation, for this community, for all those that stand and protect us, all our first responders, law enforcement, fire, and especially today, Lord, thank you for our soldiers who put their lives at risk so that we might enjoy the freedoms of this great nation. Keep them safe, especially while our nation is at war, and watch over all those who command them, that they might make decisions for the betterment of all on the earth, and for the end of unjust dictatorships and evil. Jesus, watch over our proceedings today. Watch over all those here. Help our words and our actions glorify you today, Lord. We ask these things in your holy, perfect, and precious name. Amen.
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 I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Honor the Texas flag.
I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you, Commissioner. Second item on the agenda is call for citizens' input and our concerns, and we've got a few that want to speak. Charles Mancuso.
Thank you. Hello, Judge. Good to see you. Hello, everyone else. I got a few concerns. I got my neighbor's sewer water running on my property. I was in here about 6 or 7 months ago talking about it. Nothing. Well, some stuff has been done, but I still have the problem. Contacted the health department back in April about the raw sewage running on my property. They talked. They discussed it. The guy who's dumping the sewage put me off for several years, saying he was going to get it corrected. It never got done. The health department got him to put a new system in, which there's still problems. I still have sewage water on my property, sitting on my property. I don't understand why the health department didn't do anything. They should have turned the water off. They should have told him not to use it, whatever, but he didn't do it. They didn't make him do it. And why I still get raw sewage. I'm raising cattle for us to eat. We don't want them drinking sewage water, walking in at mosquitoes and the other stuff that's in there. It's an ongoing deal. It's still there. I've got pictures. I've been in contact with the health department for over a year. They know me personally, and I know them personally. Something needs to be corrected. That's just way too long to have a problem like that. The other problem I've got is recently the county replaced a culvert on Mancuso Road. It's been there for many years. It hasn't functioned. I didn't even know there was a culvert there. So now the water is running on my property, running on my corner post, which is going to cause corrosion. 3 people from the county came out about a week ago, looked at it. The decision they made was to bring some more rock in. The culvert needs to be moved. They dug the ditches out for the drainage to occur. So where they dug it out, the water's not going there; it's coming straight across the street. But we need a better county, a better employees, or better system or something. You know, the things in the county that we have to put up with. I have dogs that come over, run my animals, run them to death, kill some of the calves. The neighbors don't think anything of it. You know, we need to do something. People walk down the street at night with their dogs. You can't even see them. Put a speed limit in, slow them down. Let's do something. Let's make our county better. Let's take care of what we have. I know we have growing pains. I know a lot of things are going on, which is good. It's good that we're growing and we're doing better. But let's take care of what we have. You know, we all know about the big factory that's down FM 2223 right across my fence line. I'm not happy about it. I want to farm there. My neighbors want to farm too, but we've got a company that's going to make rubber and plastic products, 40,000 square foot building. That's not what we want. But I realize that we cannot stop progress. If it wasn't for progress, we wouldn't be here. But let's make a couple of changes. Let's have a meeting every week. As fast as this county is growing, things happen every week. I can't see putting it off for every other week. Change our dress code. Give us an over 65 dress code. Let us older folks wear something maybe a little bit more comfortable. I appreciate what y'all do. Keep up the great work. The ones that are doing the great work. The other ones that aren't, retrain them or do something with them. But like I said, the deal with the health department, that's unbelievable. You know, if I was dumping a bucket of water on my neighbor, he'd call the sheriff immediately. Okay? Thank you for your time and thank you for your service.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Judge.
Thank you, George. Sarah Murray.
Good morning.
Morning.
My name is Sarah Murray. I'm the director of the Heart Gallery of Central Texas, and I'm here really just to share about our program. We cover all of DFPS Region 7, which is 30 counties, including Brazos County. In the past year or so, we've really worked on expanding and making sure that we are serving every single county. And we actually recently hired someone here. And so I'm just very excited to have more of a start here and want to explain what the program is. The Heart Gallery is actually a national initiative that started more than 20 years ago. And the premise is very simple. We use beautiful portraits of children who are taken by volunteer photographers and display them as art in the community. Why do we do this? It's really very simple. We have 130 kids in Central Texas who are waiting for permanent homes, which means that they've been removed by CPS from their families, have gone through the whole judicial process, and parental rights have been terminated. And so the state is their parent and they need permanency. The problem is most people don't even know these kids exist. When you talk about adoption, people think about babies, they think about international adoptions, and they don't realize that there are children here in your local community who are looking for their forever families. So with the Heart Gallery working out, we started out in Austin about 14 years ago. DFPS was able to see that their adoption rates were 22% higher in Region 7 than the rest of the state year over year for the past 10 years. And with that, we were able to get legislative funding in 2023, and we were able to start Heart Galleries in every single region in Texas that were modeled off the program here in Central Texas. So it's been a very successful program. And really the heart of it is we know that when youth age out of foster care, they are much more likely to experience homelessness, to be exploited in many different ways. And the single thing that can help mitigate that is permanency. And so our goal is just to find them families and also to help connect families who are interested in foster care and adoption with children that maybe they had never considered before. And so as we get started here in Brazos County and have more, hopefully more of a footprint, I just wanted to come and introduce ourselves to you and let you know about the program.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Walter Doherty.
That's a neat. That's so neat. I love that.
I'm Walter Doherty. Did you all get the handout that I submitted? I want to speak about the problems with the no-ink electronic poll pads. You may have seen in the news that they were compromised in Bexar County, which is San Antonio area, in the recent primary, February and March, and we use the same system. So the basic architecture of the system, if you look in the lower left corner, there's a poll pad. This is where you check in, and the system then checks the master database, which is the green box at the very top center, to answer two questions. Are you registered to vote, and have you already voted? And if you're registered to vote and you haven't already voted, then you're checked in and you get a ballot. Then at the end of the day, the list of people who have voted each day is downloaded to the bottom right corner to the ePulse workstation and then posted by 11 o'clock the following morning on the county website, which is a state law. And the county also, most counties also send it to the parties so they can distribute it to their candidates to aid in the remaining time for the election. For example, people who've already voted, you could take them off of your mailing list if you're going to send out a last-minute mailing. So now, if you look on the back page, this is the list of who checked in Bexar County on February 18th for the Republican primary. The first thing you'll notice under the name column is that Dennis checked in 7 times and Raul checked in 6 times. That's not possible. So Dennis could vote once. You can't have people stealing his name and voting 6 more times. Raul checked in once. You can't have people stealing his name and voting 5 more times. How do we know that these duplicate names are fake? If you look at the state ID column, state IDs have to be a whole number, an integer, all dollars and no cents. So you'll notice that the first state ID is 0.00000, so it's an integer. That is a real state ID. However, the second one ends in 0.57755. That is an illegal ID. There are no state voter IDs that have fractional points. And yet these 6 other Dennises checked in, which means they got a ballot. If you look at the address column where they lived, the real voter lived at 1162, a house number. The next fake voter lived at 1163, and if you go to Google Maps, you'll see that's the back alley of O'Reilly's. There is no 1164 or 1165. 1166 is a parking lot. 1167, 1168 don't exist either. So we have duplicate names, fake voter IDs, and fake addresses. And the same thing is true for Mr. Raul, that the first one is a legitimate state ID. The rest of them have a fractional part. They're fake. And the addresses go 300, 301, 302, 303 for all of the fake Rauls who were given fake addresses consecutive to that. Since we use the same system here, the no-ink electronic poll pads, I'm asking at the bottom, in accordance with the state law, which says a voting system may not be used in an election unless the system is safe from fraudulent or unauthorized manipulation, that we immediately stop using this demonstrably compromised system as this law requires. Prepare and use paper poll books for the May 26 runoff and the fall 2026 election, and demand an independent.
Thank you, Dr. Doherty. Kathy Beans.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. Kathy Vians, Precinct 4. I just had a couple of topics I wanted to cover, but first and foremost in my mind is what Dr. Doherty just testified to. This court is in charge of our election process here in Brazos County, and it is your decision how the elections are run. And I am telling you that the evidence that he provides from the poll pads that we use here in Brazos County strongly lead to the conclusion that these are not cooperative. They do not fall in under correct election procedure, and we do need to go to paper poll pads. But moving on to the other topics I wanted to discuss. One is the data center, which I've spoken to a couple of you directly and personally about the data centers, and I think I represent most people in this county who are not in favor of them. I think we also understand that we cannot control that by zoning, but the county court, the commissioner's court, does have control over abatements, which I have requested numerous times here to be excluded from our county abatements, all data centers, which you have refused to do. And I thought it was interestingly coincidental that last week's, or the previous session here, that evening was an announcement from Brian that they are offering an abatement for a data center. And so I can't help but think that that was in the wind at the time when at the other times, plural, that I have brought this up, and no one has ever said we already have something in the wind. I understand that you might think that's controversial and it's not your place to bring it up at that time, but it also doesn't lead me to feel like there's any transparency in the court when you don't tell us what's going to be happening, even though it hasn't happened yet. Once it's already done, it's done. Another point that this is just coincidental, but the county website has a search function. So I should be able to look up, for example, in today's agenda, I was interested in the Democrat Road agenda item. And I thought, oh, I've seen Democrat Road several times. I can't remember what session it was in, what agenda it was on. So I put Democrat Road in the search function, nothing, not even today's agenda. So shouldn't that function work more accurately and productively when we're looking up topics on the county? And my last thing is also just a general point. It's raining today. I got here, 45 minutes early, and the public parking lot was jam full. There wasn't a single parking spot in the parking lot or alongside the road, and I could be mistaken in assuming that those spots are taken by employees, which I was told last September that the new parking garage and the electronic gate was going to have passes given to employees that they would be able to park in the parking garage. And obviously they're parking in public. We only come here twice a month. We're here for 2 or 3 hours. Is it too much that the public should have access to the public parking lot and primary to the employees? So I just want to bring that up. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Kate. David Hilbert.
Good morning, Judge and Commissioners. I'm David Hilburn, Judge of the 361st District Court. I also live in Precinct 3. I had plans and remarks. For those of you who aren't aware, watching in the room, today was supposed to be the groundbreaking of the Brazos County Courthouse Annex building at 101 North Texas, and we had to cancel that because of Commissioner Condola's crutches. And since I wouldn't have an opportunity to speak there, I wanted a spotlight, so I thought I'd come here and give my remarks to y'all.
My bad.
The original courthouse was opened in 1957. Renovations began in 82 and 2009. And at that time, they were required because the need to expand the courthouse was required, as it is now, which is why y'all have approved the renovations and in addition to that courthouse annex. Any project that is required, the time frame, I believe that lane was purchased 5 years ago, and we're beginning construction today. So literally, we won't even get into the building for another 2 more years. So 7 years from land purchase to use. And so the foresight needed and the planning needed is just immense. And so I'll get to more of that in a second. But it highlights the continued requirement of always looking forward to future needs and plan for those future needs now. When I got married almost 20 years ago, my wife and I bought a 4-bedroom house. And on day one, we didn't have any kids. And so we had 3 empty bedrooms. Now they're all full. And similarly, this new building allows for that future growth of our justice system. The job y'all have as judge and commissioners is not easy. Y'all have to plan in every fiscal decision you make with 3 key things in mind. 1, the taxpayers, because they're the one funding it. 2, the services that y'all provide, the county provides, because that's what your purpose is to provide those services to the county residents. And 3, the employees. Sometimes those conflict, and sometimes those butt heads, and that's the tough decision y'all are put in every decision fiscally, is which one to use. In this situation, do you spend the money now when the costs are lower? Or do you say, hey, today's not the right time, it'll be more expensive, but we'll just put it off and do it later? And that's a constant consideration y'all have to consider. I would like to thank this court for their continued support of the justice system. The growth of the population in the county strains our justice system and strains our resources in general. As we have more residents, we have more family law issues, civil issues, and crime, all of which must be handled within the justice system. This building, the new one, is the next hole poked in the justice system's belt that's going to allow and relieve that strain, even if just for a short time, but it does help, and it helps a lot. Eventually, the courthouse proper will likely be just that, a house for the courts. This new building is a great step in the planning for the needs of that this growing county. I would like to thank Nina Payne in the budget office, Marcy Turner in the auditor's office, and Trevor Lansdowne for their constant help, not just in this project, but in everything that I deal with as a elected official. But also, I want to thank Jenny Garrig with Community Supervision, Nathan Wood in the Public Defender's Office, Judge Booker and Constable Carter with Precinct 4, as well as is later on the agenda, Jarvis Parsons in the DA's office and their offices for all those who are affected in the future with the growing pains they're experiencing and the expansion of those offices. Again, I think I speak for all the judges in Brazos County in expressing excitement for the Brazos County Courthouse Annex building and the future of the justice system. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Judge?
Cindy Wiley.
Good morning.
Morning.
Let us assume our county is immune from any threat actors and that we are in a cyber bubble that is impenetrable. And that is why the Department of Homeland Security recently issued a subpoena to our county. We are one of 3 counties recently picked to have received a subpoena for its voting data in the entire state of Texas. I have provided each of you 2 letters. Do you have them?
Yes.
Okay. One is dated October 17th, 2025, and the other dated February 16th, 2026. Both were issued from the following 4 associations: Texas Association of County Election Officials, County and District Clerks Association, Tax Assessor Collectors Association of Texas, County Judges and Commissioners Association of Texas. These letters outline the problems with the Texas election management system that our Secretary of State runs. This is one of the reasons no voter received their registration cards in January. But that is just one of many serious problems that have and will continue to occur. Plus, I've added a reminder from a different organization regarding 52 U.S. Code Section 20511 regarding the duty of election officials in certifying an uncertifiable election, to which that will be a heavy burden once you read these letters. I'm not going to read them out loud this meeting, but I will the next meeting. These letters will be inserted into the minutes for the public, who is the overseer of this body. I took our county's official primary reconciliation totals and have some mathematical differences. Keep that in mind when you read these letters. I see our election administrators here to report that the recount produced matching numbers. As I said before, can our election administrator attest that each of those counted ballots in the recount or the partial manual count were casted by American citizens who were eligible to vote? I am still waiting for someone to inquire why I have approximately 200 votes casted from individuals that do not show up as being registered on the state voter roll or the county voter roll, or a combination of one but not the other. I ask again for a committee to be formed where I can provide my data and be given a plausible explanation for why the anomalies and discrepancies that I have identified exist. The moment is ripe. I want transparency. Are we on the same page? I shared 2 weeks ago the potential crime of double voting here at this podium with law enforcement present and all 5 of you, and crickets. What conclusion shall I draw from that? You don't care? You don't believe? Or it's someone else's problem? I hope that every hunter and Christian who did not vote before get to the polls and vote. We have no other way to make our voices heard. The people are the endorsers of who they want to represent them. Do not be swayed, be informed.
Thank you. Christine Shimmick.
Christine Shemick, Precinct 2. Let's see. Good morning, Commissioners and Judge. I'm talking about just a quick mention on the Complete Streets Committee that I requested be put on and was appointed as a citizen representative. And first of all, thank you for this appointment. It's the one that is looking at South College and University Drive issues. And this committee has met once. And this is not in my field, so I'm learning a lot. I'm learning terminology. I'm learning how these engineers perceive road design. And a lot of critical thinking has been input. I appreciate, again, being appointed. I hope this motivates others to seek opportunities to participate, and I hope it motivates this court to consider additional appointments of citizen appointments. This communication, I think, is critically important. It helps make the issue more human. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Robert Wilson. Morning. Morning.
Certainly, it's good to be here. Have seen my friends, Mr. Brown, Judge Peters, Mr. Leopold, the rest of you. And I'm certainly happy to know that you are proceeding in a manner to better the living conditions of our people. And I'm here to give you the input that we have thus far. Save our city. Please excuse me. This technology, these smartphones, if you're not careful, they'll outrun. So allow me to take my time. Here we are. Save our city. Be the change you wish to see. Now, I don't want to go too far because I start preaching. Save Our City should be a movement in the Brazos Valley that focuses on developing peace, love, and positivity, excuse me, for all lives. Mission is to focus on the culture, concerns, history, and heritage of our community, to explore opportunities to develop and cultivate informed leaders to fill the vacuum of spiritual, moral, and economic leadership. It further says the purpose to strengthen existing community resources. It is essential for community leaders, pastors, ministers, educators, and others with leadership abilities to make a difference in the community. The biggest problem that we're having today, as you know, are drugs, opiates, all sorts of cannabis, and that's a big problem. And it's going to take all of us, every one of us, with the ability to lead, to make a difference in this city. Talking about recovery, I'm a recovering addict myself. And I know that it's going to take programs such as AA. It's going to take programs such as NA. In essence, what I'm saying, it's going to take every one of us to get out of this rut by working together. I understand that you have designed funds. There will be funds available for such. And we have it already. We're in the process of gaining a treatment center in the Brazos Valley area. There are buildings available here. Let's these dilapidated buildings, tear them down, and let's build. That's the bottom line. We are too far behind. And the reason we are behind because we are ignorant to the fact that we must work together. These programs I've been involved with all over the state of Texas. Opioid is one of the biggest problems that we're having in our schools, even in our churches. So let us dig deep, get together, and work this system, not allow it to work us. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Thank you for the time. Let's work together. Let's pray together, because I'll be coming to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, all right, thank you. We will now move on to number 3, presentation and discussion. Presentation of post-election hand count audit for March the 3rd, 2026 primary election and Commissioner Precinct 2 recount. Trudy.
So I want to start off, I gave you quite a hefty packet, so I believe in trying to be thorough. Wanted to talk a little bit about the primaries. We had a total votes cast of 32,143, which is only a 23% turnout of our 138,000 voters, which is about typical for a primary. Things usually jump quite a bit for November, but primaries are usually a little bit less. So for the Republican primary, we had 455 ballots by mail, 10,097 voters voted early, 7,505 voted on election day for a total of 18,057. Of the ballots by mail, we received 467 ballots back, but 12 were rejected by the board. For provisional ballots, which are can be several different things, people that are not registered in this county, or if you've requested a mail-in ballot, now the law requires that you either surrender that ballot or you have to vote a provisional. You can't just say that you didn't get your ballot and we allow you to vote in the polling place. So there were 61 cast, 27 of those accepted, and 34 of those rejected by the board. And then there were also 44 limited ballots cast in the Republican primary. A limited ballot is someone who has moved to the county recently and is registered within Texas. They can, during early voting, they can vote in person and they vote in our county, but they do not vote on anything that's local. They only vote on the items that we would have in common with the county that they are registered in. In the Democratic primary, we had ballots by mail were 315, early voting 7,948, election day 5,823 for a total ballots cast of 14,086. The Democratic primary had 323 ballots were received by mail, and eight of those were rejected. Of their provisionals, they received 103 ballots cast. 22 of those were accepted and 81 of those rejected. Most of those are the college students who wait and vote on election day on campus, and they vote a provisional ballot because they are not registered here. Limited ballots, the Democratic Party had 161 ballots cast. And of those ballots, of our total limited ballots cast, between the Democrats and the Republicans, we had 2 forwarded to another county, which means they did not fill out their application properly, and so we were not able to register them here. We then have to send that documentation to the county where their registration will continue. We had 7 applications that were incomplete. Sometimes if it's really busy, the clerk doesn't check the documentation as clear as well as should be, and some of the times those are incomplete and we can't register those, like if there's something missing from their address or something like that. And then we had one that had received a Harris County ballot by mail, and so we were unable to process it. I also gave you a copy of the reconciliation sheet that shows, there are 2 different reconciliation sheets that show the difference between voters to ballots that were cast. As you know, we still have an issue with voters leaving with their ballots, thinking that once they have cast their choices on the machine, that they're finished with the process. We do station people at the door to try to catch people as they leave with their ballot, but we did have a difference of 45 between people that checked in and ballots that were cast. So we did have 45 voters walk out with their ballots. Most of the time, that ends up being ladies with big purses. They'll take their ballot out of the machine as soon as it comes out, fold it and put it in their purse and walk out. And so the person at the door just assumes that they've already put their ballot in the machine. So we're going to work some on a little bit more stringent training and being sure that those people are staying on task and doing what needs to be done. Let's move on. Any questions before we go on to the post-election hand count? Okay, so the post-election hand count always sounds really easy. We get a group together, they separate ballots, they put ballots in order, and then we hand count them. This year we were given pretty big locations. For early voting, we hand counted Arena Hall, CSU, and MSC. On election day, it was a little bit better. We counted Crestview, Brazos Center, and Bryan Ballroom. So we had a pretty good mix of locations, but it took us 312 hours to do the partial manual count. So it's a very time-consuming, tedious thing. Our early voting ballot board did a great job in that. So the way that works is we have to pull out those locations, and then the boards start as a group, and they separate the ballots, Democrats and Republicans. And then we check to make sure we have the proper number of ballots. And then they put those ballots in order by precinct. That is not something that is required by law. We're just required to count the location as a whole. But we do go one step forward just to have one more check back to our precinct base. So we do count ours by precinct and then accumulate those totals. So at Arena Hall, the Republicans counted 2,451 ballots. Democrats counted 707. At CSU, College Station Utilities, which is always our biggest location for early voting and election day, the Republicans counted 4,473 ballots. The Democrats counted 2,232. MSC, the Republicans counted 476, and the Democrats counted 1,992 for a total of 12,331 of our early voting ballots were hand counted. And we counted the senator's race, attorney general, and the commissioner 4 race. We were assigned those races, except for our local race, by the Secretary of State's office. They assigned locations and races. We had to manually pull a local race, but it had to be a race that was contested. So to be able to have it fair and be the same race, the only race both parties had that were contested was the Commissioner 4 race. So that's why we chose that race. On election day, at Crestview, Republicans counted 109, Democrats counted 38, Brazos Center counted 869 for the Republicans, 411 for the Democrats. Bryan Ballroom, we counted 50 for the Republicans and 177 for the Democrats, for a total of 1,654 ballots were recounted. And then in the mail, we counted precincts 37, 64, and 105. Those are also assigned by the Secretary of State's office. The Republicans counted 2 ballots for 37, and Democrats counted 5. The precinct 64, the Republicans counted 43, and Democrats counted 13. Precinct 105, the Republicans counted 14, and the Democrats counted 9, with a total of 86. We hand counted 14,071 ballots for the post-election hand count, which is 44% of our ballots that were cast in the total for both early voting and election day. I gave you the backup that we're required to send to the Secretary of State's office, just in case you have any questions on how we report that back to the state. Any questions on that before we move to the recount? Okay, then we also had a day break and then started over with the Commissioner 2 recount. For the Commissioner 2 recount, there are 30 precincts that were involved in that recount. and we had to pull ballots from every location. So five early voting location, 28 election day locations, and then the mail. And in that total, we counted 7,117 ballots for the Commissioner 2 race. There were no changes in that race at all. And we counted a total of 7,117 ballots for that, with approximation of 110 man-hours to be able to do that. So any questions on that? Pretty fast cover, but I'd just like to say in closing, there have been several asks of this court to look into 200 ghost voters deceased that remain on our voters' rolls, ballots without numbers, and such other anomalies. I want to assure the court that we follow the strictest policies, procedures, and best practices when it comes to our voter rolls and those that vote in our elections. I've never been given a list of the ghost voters or the deceased, nor have I been given proper documentation to review for these asks. If there is a true concern, why are these asks and questions not being directed to the person who can review and answer those questions? Why are the asks being made of the court, who has no means of answering these questions posed? Court staff have requested documentation be submitted, but was met with, "I'm too busy." So still, there's no way for me to follow through, research the information, or review anything that's not been submitted to this court or to myself for review.
Trudy,
Thank you, Trudy.
before you go, I have a question. So my mother passed away in 2015. Before that, she had dementia. So before that, probably in the last 7 years of her life, she became a registered voter, but in her last 7 years or so, she never voted. I can't remember when she stopped voting. But it dawned on me in hearing the discussion about deceased people on the voter rolls, when she passed in 2015, and I'm sure there are a number of us, you never think about, I should call the election office and let them know my parent, my family member has been deceased. And even through these discussions, I guess it's a good thing to do if one is not, through their grieving, they're not thinking about the voter rolls. But I suppose it could be a discussion where you say to the community, if you have a loved one who is a registered voter, you should take the time to call the election office and let them know that that person is no longer, it would help. I don't know what the answer is, but in my moment of grief and the loss of my mother, and then another family member the next year, it never entered my mind to think about calling the election office and letting you all know. And you all, it's kind of like financial records, and you don't receive a death certificate to let you know when someone is, a county member or citizen is deceased.
We do not receive a death certificate, but we do receive notifications. Over the years, the state has started a pretty robust program in removing deceased. So we get what we call abstract of deaths from the county clerk's office. When they have a death certificate that's filed, we receive what is not the death certificate, but it's just notification. Sometimes those people can still not be removed because all we receive is a name and a birth date. If that is not a complete match, then we can send out an examination notice to ask if they're deceased, but if there's not a response, we can't remove them. We also receive notification from the Secretary of State, who is notified by Social Security in processing ballots by mail for the May runoff. We have come across two voters who were still here and cast a ballot by mail in the March primary, but are currently have passed since then. And we already show them in our system that they are deceased. And yes.
So if you do a mail-in ballot, obviously you're still alive, but within that window you pass away, your vote still counts. If you mailed it in pre passing away, that your vote doesn't count?
No, it does.
Okay.
For March, it counted, but as we're preparing for mail out for the May election, because we've already started mailing out the ballots for the May election, come across two individuals who have passed since they cast their ballot in March. And so the system tells us that they have been canceled due to being deceased.
Okay.
And so that is a pretty quick turnaround now. Years ago, it was not that. We
Okay.
had to be notified by someone.
Okay.
We also, if we have personal knowledge, like we can take an obituary. But in an obituary, you know, there's very limited information, a name and a birth date. If we cannot match that, have what we call a strong match, we cannot cancel that voter. Again, all we can do is send out a notification, what we call a notice of examination, asking, is this individual deceased? If we receive a response, then we act on it. But if we don't receive a response, then we can't do anything.
Okay. Well, I was just curious to know how that worked.
Right.
Because like I said, I never thought to call and say, please take my mother off the voter roll.
Right, and like I said, we receive lots of information from several different agencies. The JPs notify us, the county clerk's office does. We get abstract of deaths from both of those things, the hospital, the city registrar. And so we do receive quite a bit of that information, but also Social Security notifies Secretary of State, who then cancels them within the state database.
Thank you.
Trudy, can I recommend that the additional information you need as far as addresses and so forth, that you talk to Representative Dyson and ask him to write legislation for that for the next legislative session?
Why does
and
it
all
need to
that-
be legislation?
Well, because it comes from the Secretary of State.
But it's already being handled, so why do you need to?
Well,
write it?
but it's limited. It's limited from the Secretary of State. Now, according to what you just said,
Right, but what we would have to have is the abstract of deaths that we would receive from the county clerk's office would have to contain some kind of personal identifying number, like either their driver's license or social security number, to make that a strong match.
right, and
So we would have
so-
to look at changing that legislation for
yeah,
that.
please
Yeah.
do. That might help you.
Okay.
Thank
Okay.
you.
You understand that?
Thank you, Trudy. We will move on to number 4, is proclamation 26-012 proclaiming May the 3rd through the 9th, 2026 as National Correctional Officers and Employees Week in Brazos County. I'm going to read that. And whereas the National Correctional Officers and Employees Week was first proclaimed May 5th, 1984 by President Ronald Reagan, Proclamation 5187, establishing the National Correctional Officers Week to recognize the dedicated men and women who serve in jails, prisons, and community corrections across the nation. And whereas in 1986, the United States officially expanded the observance to include all correctional personnel, designating the first week of May as National Correctional Officers and Employees Week. And whereas the United States Department of Justice and Federal Bureau of Prisons have designated May the 3rd through the May the 9th, 2026 as National Correctional Officers Employees Week. And whereas this observance honors correctional officers and personnel for their service, professionalism, integrity, and commitment, while also recognizing significant responsibilities, risk, and sacrifices inherent in their work. And whereas Brazos County's correctional officers and employees play a vital role in protecting the community by ensuring the safe, secure, and human custody of individuals entrusted in their care. Now therefore be it resolved that the Commissioners Court of Brazos County hereby proclaims the week of May 3rd, 2026 through May the 9th, 2026 as National Correctional Officers and Employees Week. All citizens are encouraged to recognize and express their appreciation for dedicated correctional professionals serving Brazos County and to acknowledge the essential public service that they provide. Proclaimed 21st day of April, 2026. Linda, you're going to speak.
Good morning, Judge and Commissioners. I would like to say a few words to our correctional staff on behalf of Juvenile Services, Brazos County Juvenile Services, the Federal Prison Program, Women's Prison, and Bryan, the Sheriff's Department, Brazos County Sheriff's Department, and for our Hamilton Unit Correctional Facility. Today, we recognize and thank our corrections officers for the essential role you play every day. Your professionalism, vigilance, and resilience help maintain safety, order, and respect within a challenging environment. The work you do requires strength, integrity, and dedication, and it does not go unnoticed. Thank you for your service and your commitment to keeping our facilities secure. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. So I know we've got a lot of correctional people in the room. What I'd like to do is get everybody that's involved in correctional to come up, and we'll take pictures.
Jingalinga.
Yeah, the tall guy's on the end.
We may need a wide-angle camera.
We talk about Chuck, don't we?
I know.
Y'all need to do the sideways thing. Turn sideways, where you kind of, kind of do the sideways thing.
Crouch down or something.
Kind of do the sideways thing, y'all. There's no way to get everybody.
Some of them can come up here too. All right. Thank y'all so much.
I tried to take it this way, but Chuck took it back that way.
Oh, sorry. Aubrey wants that other one that we just signed.
Okay.
Yeah.
We cleared out fast, look at that.
Well, yeah, they had to be here for the pictures.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, we do need a motion. That's an action item, so we need a motion to second the vote.
So motion to approve proclamation 26012, proclaiming May 3rd through 9th, 2026 as National Correctional Officers and Employees Week in Brazos County.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Certainly there's none. Motion carries. Pass that on down there. Now we'll move on to number 5, and it's a proclamation 26-13 proclaiming May 6th through the 12th, 2026 as National Nurses Week in Brazos County. And I will read that proclamation. Whereas National Nurses Day is observed annually on May the 6th to recognize and celebrate nurses and raise the awareness of their vital contributions to health and well-being of our communities, and whereas National Nurses Week is celebrated each year, May the 6th through the 12th, including the birthday of Florence Nightingale, the founder of modern nursing,
And whereas on March 25th, 1982, President Ronald Reagan signed Proclamation 4913 designating May 6th as National Recognition Day for Nurses. And whereas the nursing profession encompasses a wide range of skills, specialties, and levels of practice, each playing a critical role in the delivery and coordination of quality patient care. And whereas nurses are essential to the members of healthcare team, providing compassionate, high-quality care, offering emotional support to patients and their families, and contributing significantly to the positive health outcomes. And whereas Brazos County recognizes and appreciates the dedication, professionalism, and the service of all nurses within the community, including those serving in correctional facilities, for their commitment to excellence, compassion, and public service. Now therefore be it resolved that the Brazos County Commissioners Court does hereby proclaim May 6th, May 12th through May 12th as National Nurses Week in Brazos County, and encourages all citizens to recognize the important contribution of nurses and make to improving the health and well-being of our community. Proclaimed May the 21st of April 2026.
Move for approval on that motion.
Second?
Motion made and seconded. And I think Julie Anderson wants to speak. We'll take the vote afterwards.
Thank you guys for giving me just one moment. As a nurse, I want to come to this group of people and specifically give thanks and recognition to what the judge and the commissioners have done to support correctional medicine, us as nurses, not only in our jail, but in our juvenile detention center and our Brazos County Employee Clinic. Without your support, and you know there's been times I've come to each of you for your leadership and to ask you to help us get mission ready, and I thank you for that. I want to give you acknowledgement in front of these people for that support. I also want to give, in this public forum, a special thanks to our sheriff, Chief Stewart, Lieutenant Davis, Lieutenant Marinari, Nina Payne, who keeps my math on track, Laura Cook. I want to give some special shout outs to help go paperless in our jail to Eric Caldwell and Trevor for their help. And lastly, for the everyday in the trenches support, Ed Bull, who stood by us through some massive changes and helped with the direction of that and deserves a special thank you. Guys, I'd like to hopefully bring up our nursing team, and again, we thank you for everything that you have done for us, because we couldn't do it, honestly, without you guys.
Thank you, Julie, and we'll have all the nurses come up and we'll take pictures.
You got to come in the middle. Okay.
Thank y'all for all you do.
Appreciate
y'all.
I think we need a vote on that, Judge.
Yeah, we do. We need a vote on that. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Certainly there's none. Motion carries. We will move on to number 6, is proclamation proclaiming the month of April as Fair Housing Month. And I will read that one. The Fair Housing Act, enacted in April 11th, 1968, and enshrined into federal law the goal of eliminating racial segregation and ending housing discrimination in the United States. And whereas Fair Housing Act prohibits discrimination in housing based on race, color, religion, sex, family status, national origin, or disability, commits recipients of the federal funding to affirmatively further fair housing in their communities. And whereas Brazos County is committed to the mission and intent of the Congress to provide fair and equal housing opportunities for all. And whereas our social fabric, the economy, health, and environment are strengthened by the diverse and inclusive communities. And whereas more than 50 years after the passage of the Fair Housing Act, discrimination persists and many communities remain segregated. And whereas the acts of housing discrimination and barriers to equal housing opportunity are repugnant to a common sense of decency and fairness. Now therefore be it resolved that the Commissioners Court of Brazos County does hereby proclaim the month of April 2026 as Fair Housing Month in Brazos County, and as an inclusive community committed to fair housing and to promoting the appropriate activities to private and public entities to provide and advocate for equal housing opportunities for all residents and prospective residents of Brazos County, proclaim the 21st day of April 2026.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion made, seconded. Discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, certainly none. Motion carries. And there's no one here to receive that this morning, so. We will move on to number 7. It's Proclamation 26-015 proclaiming the month of April as Sexual Assault Awareness and Prevention Month.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. And I will read that proclamation. Whereas the effects of sexual assault go far beyond physical and victims and often develop a number of psychological conditions such as post-traumatic stress disorder, depression affecting families, friends, and Texas communities, spurring fear and anger and a sense of vulnerability. Whereas few survivors of sexual violence seek help immediately after the victimization due to the shame and fear of not being believed. To end the sexual assault, we must alleviate these fears and begin by believing. And whereas as a member of Caring Society, members of the community across the state of Texas must unite to remove the stigma of rape, and of Brazos Valley community must continue the dialogue started by Sexual Assault Resource Center in their places of work, schools, and homes. Whereas each year, the month of April provides an opportunity for Sexual Assault Resource Center and rape crisis centers across the state to renew their commitments to serve their communities. Educational efforts also intensify, which ensures that Texans are aware of sexual assault services available in their area. Now therefore, the Commissioners Court of Brazos County do hereby designate April 2026 as Sexual Assault Awareness and Prevention Month in Brazos County. Proclaim the 21st day of April 2026. I think we need a vote on that. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Is there anybody here to receive that? Come on up.
Should make some comments.
Good morning. My name is Amanda Fisher, and I'm the Director of Development for the Sexual Assault Resource Center. And I would like to thank you for allowing me a few moments to speak today. April is recognized nationally as Sexual Assault Awareness Month, a time dedicated to raising awareness, supporting survivors, and advocating and in educating our community about prevention. Sexual assault impacts individuals at every age, background, and community, often in silence. At SARC, we work every day to provide crisis intervention, advocacy, counseling, hospital accompaniment, legal support, and long-term healing services for survivors across our 7 counties. This proclamation is more than words on paper. It sends a message. It tells survivors they are seen, they are supported, and they are not alone. It also reminds our community that prevention, education, and compassion are everyone's responsibility. By proclaiming April as Sexual Assault Awareness Month in the county, you help shine light on an issue that too often remains in the dark. On behalf of SARC, our advocates, the survivors we serve, I respectfully ask for your support in recognizing April as Sexual Assault Awareness Month. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. We want to take a picture. Come on up and take. Anybody that's here? Yeah.
Thank you all.
Thank you for all
You know, I'm back.
Yeah, God bless your work.
You know, I was looking.
We voted on this one. Okay, good. We will move on to number 8. Approval for acceptance of donated and unclaimed property items left by inmates leaving Brazos County Detention Center for the month of February 2026.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion made, seconded, discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carries. Number 9 is authorization of the county judge to submit required Texas Comptroller requesting a portion of the unclaimed capital credits received from electric cooperatives for the year 2025 to be returned to Brazos County.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion made, seconded, discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carries. Number 10 is, it would be approval to participate in the National Opioid 6 Remnant Defendant Settlement, but we want to skip this one, and we'll take action on it after the executive session. So we'll skip it for right now. Number 11 is a request authorization for the wire transfer of $779,926.54 to the Health and Human Services Commission for the Hospital Augmented Reimbursement Program, HARP, intergovernmental transfer for the benefit of participating hospitals using funding with Brazos County Local Provider Participating Fund.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion made and seconded, and this is a pass-through from the hospitals. It passes through the county, so it's not taxpayer money. It's actually hospital money. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carries. Number 12 is approval requested from the authorization to transfer up to $7 million to the Health and Human Services Commission for aligning technology by linking the interoperative system for the client health outcomes program, intergovernmental transfer for the benefit of participating hospitals using funding from the Brazos County Local Provider Participating Fund.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion made, seconded, and this is the same way. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carries. Number 13 is approval of engagement letter with Westwell Albritton for legal representation for services for the acquisition and sale of real estate property.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion made, seconded, discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carries. Number 14 is approval of amendment number 10 for the service agreement between Texas A&M University and the Health Science Center of Brazos County.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion made, seconded, and I think we had one more to speak. Kathy?
In looking over the agenda, I was curious about the original agreement, which was not attached. So I tried to use the county website to do a search on this agreement. I was able to dig up some of the information from my own records that I've copied, and I noticed a trend. And one of the reasons that I follow the financial transactions of the county is to the point of the property tax meeting last night. Our our property taxes are based on the budget, and the budget is set by this court. So that's one of the reasons that I'm bringing this up, and the other times that I bring up the spending of this court. So in July, the contract that went from July of 23 to June of 24, we were paying $80,000. And then for some reason, 2 months after that agenda hearing, we increased that same term contract to $90,000, a 10% increase. The following year, from July 1st, 24 to June 30th of 25, we increased it to 105, and now we're increasing it to 120. So that's a 50% increase over the course of 3 years. And I don't know what this contract covers. I don't know, how many cases a year is this personnel seeing? Is this salary? Is this one person or more people? I was wondering if you could expound on that.
Okay,
Do you happen to, I'm asking, does any of you know the answer to those questions? Have any of you asked those questions, or you're just passing through the agreement?
yeah, so this may be our contract with Health Services
Yes.
through the DAs. I
Yes.
can't remember for sure, but I think that's
Yep.
what it was.
It is. It says, it is,
Brian Baker with the DA's office could.
who's paying us?
The Health Science Center. So Brian Baker with the Brazos County DA's office. We do a training with the forensic nurses throughout the state. They bring them here and partner with Texas A&M, but Texas A&M is actually paying the county for our time and money.
Okay, so these are not nursing staff or staff that we use in our DA's office to see?
So we will get local as well as other nurses from around the state, and then Texas A&M pays us money to train them, to prepare them for the ability to help other counties and our
Okay, so
local.
this is basically revenue and not
Yes, ma'am.
expense?
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay. I think that was the only one to speak on that. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carries. Approval requested by the Public Defender's Office to apply for Texas Indigent Defense Commission FY 27 grants.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion made, seconded, discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carries. Number 16, we're going to skip that one also until after the executive session. So we'll move on to number 17, and approval requested by Patrol Vehicle Standards Policy.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion made, seconded, discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carries. Number 18 is request approval of signature to hold harmless a financial responsibility agreement with Lariat Energy Services to reimburse the county $952.45 for damaged property.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion made, seconded, discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carries. Number 19 is approval of interlocal agreement with Texas A&M University and Brazos County for cooperative purchasing.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion made, seconded. And we've got Kathy, I think you want to speak on that?
I just have a quick question. These interlocal agreements between the county, do these use buy boards? I mean, is that how those contracts are being furthered? And doesn't that reduce the number of RFPs and the opportunity to renegotiate contracts, or am I mistaken?
Well, so it does, but I think part of the issue is that it takes lots of times to go through there, and if somebody else has already gone through that process, we can piggyback off of what they've already done. I mean,
So we trust that they have done the research and we don't have to do that?
well, they are under the same rules that we're under. I mean, they have to do the same sort of thing that we do when they're at getting contracts.
Is there a dollar frame that is, that this covers, or is it negotiations of any amount? In other words, if you have a contract you want to offer to somebody, you go to this buy board instead of offering it to the a local company because somebody else has already done the research? Is there $1 million, 50,000, any kind of limitation?
So is that your last question? Because I'm going to let Charles
Yes.
answer. Okay.
Okay.
Well, if you'll have a seat, thank you. I'll let Charles answer so we don't have, go ahead, Charles.
So this has nothing, Buy Board is a separate entity. It has nothing to do with this agreement whatsoever. Texas A&M competitively solicits for different scopes of work that they have. We do utilize some of their contracts. This one in particular is for planning services that we need. We also have utilized their We've also utilized their AV contract, and you can look at it negatively, as was previously stated, but you can also look at it that we gain efficiencies of their much higher volume, and so we do see price decreases for things that we would go out and buy one of. They let millions and millions of dollars for different services, so it just kind of depends on your perspective.
So it certainly could be a positive, because if they're getting an efficiency of higher numbers, we also get that.
The
So you get
economies
their
of scale.
same, you get a discount by working with them.
Yes,
It's
ma'am.
it's almost like a discount because you're added to the pool. If they buy 5 and you add an additional as a 6th, you still get that discount, so to speak.
And we do, A&M is a very professional organization, their purchasing group. They handle all of the solicitations per the statutes. There is no dollar limit on that. So we can utilize it to whatever degree, but we do individually evaluate those scenarios as they come up, as we are, as the county investigates whether to utilize that contract, competitively solicit it ourselves or what have you, and make that determination and bring it to the court for decisions.
Okay. Thank you, Charles. We need a vote.
I've got a question.
Okay.
Mr. Wonderful, can you come back up here? I saw you heading to the crying room, so sorry. I'm glad I got you beforehand. The only thing that bothers me about this is that, and first I want to thank you and your staff for getting everything put together for our how to do business with the county at the end of the month at the Brazos Center. I think that's very important. It's very important for local businesses to learn how they can actually do business with the county. The thing that bothers me about this is that I doubt if any of these Texas A&M cooperative purchasing agreements are local. They're probably all over the place, right? And so we're taking away the opportunity for local businesses to do business with us when we sign this agreement, don't we?
So as the court in workshop previously stated, that y'all defined local as within the state of Texas. And so we asked for that clarification specifically so that we were dealing with a common playing field. Now, if you say that it is inside Bryan College Station, then sometimes those vendors are not. Like the AV contract I mentioned earlier is with a firm that is in College Station. This firm is not local per se, but they do have local people that work on some of these types of contracts that we have utilized before. And so we see some advantages for that. But per se, they are not individually all in Bryan College Station. That is accurate. But per the court's definition, within Texas, even some of them are outside of that, but they do meet the court's definition for local, being in Texas, this one in particular.
Well, in my personal definition, when I think local,
Sure.
because this is, our local businesses and our local residents are the ones that pay the taxes to keep everything going here. And when we send business out of our county or out of our state, then we're wasting taxpayer money, in my estimation.
Certainly. And I'm not debating that at all with you, Commissioner. We look for opportunities to try to have things with local vendors whenever we possibly can. There are some benefits to the services that this firm provides with knowledge, skills, and things that they have demonstrated with us. For instance, the work that they did on the 101 North, the annex facility. They provided the same type of services with that one and performed admirably. That's not to say no one else can, but again, if we go through the solicitation process and all that, then we kick this further down the road. It ties up legal and other resources trying to do the solicitation and then negotiate a contract and so forth. And so, again, it's not to say no one else can do this, but there are certain efficiencies we believe that could be gained by going through this process.
Okay, let me ask you a hypothetical question.
Yes, sir.
You have a need for 15 widgets.
Yes, sir.
So you go and you know that there's 7 different businesses in Bryan College Station that sell widgets. But we're not going to give any of these 7 widget manufacturers an opportunity because we're going to go to this buy board. And these widgets that we buy from the buy board may be out of Pennsylvania.
Certainly.
Is that correct?
So it depends, again, it's specific to what we're looking at. In the situation like that, if we're looking at widgets, whatever they may be, more than likely, if we can get quotes from vendors here in town, then that is exactly what we're going to do.
So my question is, you will open it up to local vendors?
Commissioner, we do it on a daily basis. We encourage the departments, or we help them find vendors here locally or otherwise to try to provide the goods and or services that we need. These are one-off type situations, and we do have to expend some effort to try to go do some of these scenarios like we did here today. But we evaluate those on a case-by-case basis. Our preference is to go get quotes from local vendors here in town.
Good.
Or locally by your definition or by the court's definition per the state to try to fill those gaps.
Good, thank you.
Yes, sir.
And thanks again for all y'all's work.
My pleasure.
For this coming up.
Thank you, Charles. Have we voted yet? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carries. Number 20 is approval of amendment number 1, bid 25-107R, transportation of deceased and cremation services with Hillier Funeral Home to extend the term through June 30, 2026, along with a price increase of $500 to $1,500 per call to transport.
Move for approval.
Second?
Motion made and seconded, and I've got one that wants to speak. Kathy again.
I was trying to wade through this agenda item, and I understand the ME's office opens in July. Is that correct? Roughly July?
Maybe when the certificate of occupancy, potentially, it may be July, August, somewhere in that, it's in that neighborhood,
Okay,
yes.
so this terminates, I have a couple questions then, because this agreement to increase by 300% only goes to June 30th, and we may need them to go past June 30th. Is that correct then?
So their current contract goes through June 30th, and this is just to go through their contract. And since it is a big increase that they've requested, we really don't have any choice right now because we don't have another that's ready to do it. I think purchasing is actually going to go out for bids again on this new, when the new contract, and we'll see what we get.
Okay, so we don't know what's going to happen between June 30th and the actual opening of the ME's office. They could double that again, correct?
Until we get
Potentially.
bids,
Okay.
yeah.
So no one wanted to do it, so we're kind of in this rut. But to answer your question, I think that's what purchasing is working on, is to go back out to bid.
Okay.
It's a terrible situation.
I agree. I don't know how that happened, but I do have another question tangential to that, and that is, it seems like every week or every agenda meeting we have, there are new contracts that are, being renewed or agreed upon that have time constraints, a sense of urgency. This contract that we're under right now terminates in 9 days. Why do we wait until the last minute and put these things on the agenda last minute, have to pass it, can't reconsider, have no options, got to do it? Why don't we have some sort of a schedule of county contracts, what their terms are, and when they're coming up for renegotiation or renewals, so that they can be reviewed not at the last minute, but months in advance and be well prepared?
So the contract, I believe, ends June 30th. That's not 9 days. That's.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. Yes, I
so
made a
this
mistake
is,
there. Yes.
I believe Hilliers has said that they won't be doing it for $500 anymore. So We really don't have any choice. If we've got someone passed away. Charles, you may be better at answering that
But
than.
let me, because you're going to make me sit down when I'm done.
Yeah, I know, so go ahead.
So let me finish asking another question.
Okay.
The contract we knew was expiring April 30th. So that is in 9 days. And so we're extending from April 30th to June 30th. So we've known for more than a year that the contract would terminate April 30th. We knew the ME's office was not going to open, that there might be a coverage term. Why did we not start looking 6 months ago when we understood that there was going to be this gap? Why do we wait for the last minute? Why don't we have a schedule of contracts? And we can address these things ahead of time. Why are we doing this last minute?
Okay. Have a seat. Thank you. Charles?
Purchasing does have a schedule. It is available upon request. I've offered that. I've not been taken up on that yet. But we actually start on our contracts approximately 4 months ahead of time. The vendor drugged their feet on this. I don't mean that negatively towards them because they were seeking advice of their corporate headquarters. They notified us rather late in the period that they were not going to renew. And furthermore, that any further work after the current expiration of the contract would be at the high. So we personally reached out, not me, but my team, because they do all the work. They reached out to the funeral homes in town, not in the state of Texas, but in Bryan College Station, to see what their availability is. We did not receive warm responses from any of them. And so to try to fix the timeline, if you will, we were, again, trying to reach out, see what other opportunities were available. And so this does happen from time to time, that we have something that, due to circumstances a little bit beyond our control, we do have to have a little bit of a late response to this. So it's less than desirable. It's not my wish whatsoever, but we are trying to do backflips to try to make this work so that we don't have a gap in services.
Charles, you called me about this 2 weeks ago, and we discussed all the different various funeral homes in Bryan College Station, and nobody wanted to do it. And
we're
just to find, who is this, Hillier? Yeah. They're the only ones that wanted to continue to do it, and not at the $500. So I applaud you, because you contacted every single funeral home and nobody wanted to do the transport.
We're not done yet. We are still putting effort into this and chasing down leads, including one vendor potentially out of state, as well as going back to the individual folks here in town that handle this type of service to see if they would entertain it. I do not want to disparage Hillier whatsoever. They have performed in almost every case admirably. They do a professional service, and so I get it. Prices are going up. They have maintained that $500 price for a number of years as a benefit to our renewal process that is discussed often, but we have seen the benefit of that for a number of years, that same price. So we're still working on it.
Thank y'all for your work on this and for trying to bridge that gap too, where we have an expiration versus when ME office opens and is running. Thank you, Charles.
Thank you, Mr. Wonderful.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carries. Number 21 is award of RFP 26-069, Medical Lab Services. Recommended award is Clinical Pathway Laboratories.
Move for approval.
Second?
Motion made, seconded, discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carries. Number 22 is permission to advertise RFP 26-087, Emergency Notification System.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion made, seconded, discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carries. Number 23, approval of the following committee for RFP 26-087, Emergency Management Software.
Move to approve A through G.
Second.
Motion made, seconded, discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carries. Number 24 is approval of CIP 26-535, District Attorney's Office relocation feasibility proposal with Brazos Planning in the amount of $114,860.
Move for approval.
Second?
Motion made, seconded, and I've got two want to speak, I believe, on that one. Kathy Beans.
I may be wrong, but I feel like we just saw a presentation of the floor plan and where all these offices were going to be located. So I don't understand why this particular unit is being revamped. It says assessing and pre-planning for $114,000. Don't we have like a multi-million-dollar contract with Brazos for this whole building? Why is this one space being singled out for $114,000 additional expense for laying out an office? Seems to me like that's AI. I think I saw a magazine recently. You could take a picture of a room and ask AI how to reorganize it, and it'll tell you what to do. Why are we spending $114,000 for locating offices in the new building? Isn't that considered part of the original layout and architecture? Or are we going to be having new bills for every single office that's going into it?
So this doesn't have anything to do with the courthouse annex. That's
Okay.
where we've got the contract with. Eventually, I believe that the district attorney's office will move out of the courthouse into the area there at the parking garage where adult probation currently is housed. Adult probation will go over to the new building. And when that space is vacated, most likely, the district attorney's office will then move to this space. And that's what this is about, is looking at the adult probation area to determine whether it's going to work for the DA's office over there or not, and then kind of how it would be arranged. And frankly, we don't want to wait till the last minute, to go through that process. As Judge Hilburn said this morning, it took 7 years from the time of the purchase of that property over there to get to the point of actually starting construction. So you do all that stuff as much as you can. You try to get it ahead of time to make sure that when the time comes for it to happen, you're ready.
Is that the Roy Kelly parking garage where those adult services are located?
Yes, on the Texas Avenue end of it, yes.
So don't we know the layout of that space for offices because they've been used as offices? We have to spend $114,000
Well,
all over
the offices
again?
that are in there, that are currently there, the way it's put together over there may not work at all for the DA's office because they've got totally different function. So that's really what they have to look at. You've got the outside area, or the area within the building, and you know what that space is. How can it be divided up to make it work for the district attorney's office?
Okay, so you think this is an acceptable normal practice fee for doing that?
I'm not
You
sure
also
how
have to
it should
provide
be.
security. When you think about the function of a DA's office, there are so many, it's such a different entity than what they're doing now. And there's a level of security in terms of people, staff, documentation, evidence, all kinds of things. So the function of the building has to be configured for the function of the department
Okay, so
that's going to
adult
be going in there.
probation doesn't have the same security as
Well,
DA?
they may have security, but they don't have evidence. They have people coming in that need to meet with different people.
All right.
But think about what the DA is, they have, I've been going to their class, millions of documents, data, films, videos, all kinds of things that they have to do.
Is this the permanent location then for the DA office? In the Roy Kelly parking garage?
I won't be around probably when that decision's made, so I can't answer it.
Right now, is that the plan?
But
Is
the
that the
assumption
plan
is
right
that for the
now
next
for the-
10, next 10, 15, 20 years, the assumption is, because you don't know what the future will
Right,
hold.
I'm just
You don't
asking.
know how the county
So
will
this
grow.
is going to be the permanent location for the DA's office until something changes? It's not a temporary thing until they go into?
Yes,
Okay.
no, it would not
Okay.
it would not be a temporary change, in my opinion.
Okay, thank you.
All right, and I think we got one more that wants to speak, Karen Simpson. Oh, yeah, okay. All right, Commissioner.
Judge, I'm voting against it. I think it's a total waste of money. Especially that much money just to tell us where to put desks, where to put office walls, where to put all this stuff. Dang, $114,860.
Well, it really is more than where do you put walls. There is a
Yes, sir.
security effort.
As I recall, Judge, the first floor of that building was never built out, and so this would
Yeah,
include planning for that.
to take a look at that too, to see whether whether it's even needed for the DA's office, and if, and if it is, then that would all.
I'd like to have him come speak to this. You don't want to
You want to
speak?
come up, Brian? I mean,
Yeah, let's
come
get
on
Brian.
up.
Am I right in what I said in terms of the needs?
Yes, ma'am. So Brian Baker, Brazos County DA's office. The current layout of the probation department, which we have been notified may be our permanent resting place, is functionally unworkable for what we do on a daily basis. We cannot, we've walked the property, I've gone through it with Trevor. The way that it is laid out currently right now would be completely detrimental to the work that we do on a daily basis. So at some point, somebody is going to have to help us figure out how we could lay that building out in a way that we can sustain our current level of productivity and that we can continue on doing what we do, not to mention how we're going to get evidence, guns, AR-15s, drugs from over there across to the building as we walk through the jurors going in through the, I mean, we're going to have to do some strategic planning here in order to make this work. And I understand that that's where we're headed. We're going to need a new space at some point. The courthouse may overrun, but I don't believe that I currently or anybody in my office is capable of figuring out how the infrastructure of that building, which is unique, can be laid out in a way that we can do the work we do. So, I mean, we are hoping that somebody can help us see the long-term possibilities in that building.
Do you know if we went out for bids on that? Were there any other options other than $114,860?
I have, nope. I'm not aware of how that comes to be. I just know that I've been told that we were going to have an opportunity to work with somebody to help us see how we can make that space functionally work.
Trevor, do you know if we went out for bids on that? Or we just automatically just sign somebody up because we like them?
That's not how it works.
Oh, sir, this is, so the ILA that was just previously approved, that's the ILA that we're leveraging. Texas A&M previously requested qualifications for this work, and so we're leveraging the ILA to piggyback off of the A&M contract.
Nice jacket.
Thank you. I do also want to say, we had great success doing this sort of process on the courthouse annex building. So bringing these folks in, helping us out really early on to give us an idea of a very rough programmatic look at what the building could be. But what we also got out of that was a budget, and that was huge because we're not estimators by trade, and there are people that you can pay to do that separately, but these folks do it all as a service, and so we do end up with a very good program for what the space is going to be, as well as a budget to bring back to the court whenever we are ready to move forward with this work.
But doesn't that sound like a lot of money to you? $114,000?
It's a professional service that's provided. The fees are what they are. I mean, nothing's cheap anymore, sir. I do believe there's value there. It's hard for me to put an actual dollar on that, but it sets us up for success when we do get into the project. So,
thank you.
Okay, thank you, Trevor. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
One opposing. Motion carries. Number 25 is permission to advertise for RFP CIP 26553 Democrat Road reconstruction.
Move for approval.
Second?
Motion made and seconded. Discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carries. Number 26 is approval of following evaluation committee for RFP CIP 26-553 Democrat Road reconstruction.
Move for approval A through E.
Second?
Motion made and seconded. Discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carries. Number 27 is permission to advertise RFP CIP 26-554 Dick Elliott Road reconstruction.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion made, seconded. Discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carries. Number 28 is approval of following evaluation committee for RFP CIP 26-554 Dick Elliott Road reconstruction.
Move for approval A through E.
Second.
Motion made, seconded. Discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carries. Number 29 is consider and take action on Comcast utility permit to directional bore conduit and construct road bores under the following county roads, sites located in precinct 1.
Move to approve A through F.
Second.
Motion made, seconded, discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carries. Number 30 is consider and take action of Comcast utility permit to directional bore conduit and construct road bores under the following county roads within the Bentwood Estate subdivision and Sendera subdivision. Sites are located in precinct 1.
Move to approve A through N.
Second.
Motion made, seconded, discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carries. Number 31 is request permission to enter private property owned by Assicius Development on Reuter Road to clean silt from the creek channel, to reestablish proper drainage, to limit water jumping roadway. Sites located in precinct 1.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion made, seconded, discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carries. Number 32 is approval of final plat for Spires subdivision, track 1 and 2, 22.24 acres, Andrew Milliken's League, A39, Brazos County, Texas. Sites located precinct 1.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion made, seconded, discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carries. Number 33 is consider and take action on Wixon Creek SUD utility permit to directional bore the following county roads for 34-inch water transmission project. Sites located in precinct 2.
Move for approval A and B.
Second.
Motion made, seconded, discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carries. Number 34 is consider and take action on Wixon Creek SUD utility permit to directional bore Grassburg Road for relocation of a 12-inch water line for TxDOT FM 1179. Sites located in precinct 2.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion made, seconded, discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carries. Number 35 is approval of final plat of Lock subdivision lots 1 through 5, Block 1, 17.78 acres, Thomas H. Barron League Survey, Abstract 5, Brazos County, Texas. Sites located in precinct 2.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion made, seconded. Discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carries. Number 36, consider and take action on MetroNet utility permit to install 2 conduits within the right-of-way of Ocala Circle and Cargill Drive located in Ocala Acres subdivision. Sites located in precinct 2.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion made, seconded. Discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carries. Number 37 is approval of final plat on Smart Elmo Whedon subdivision 1 and 2, Block 1, 10.15 acres, Thomas Alcorn Survey, Abstract 61, Brazos County, Texas. Sites located in precinct 2.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion made, seconded, discussion.
Judge, I just want to thank Roger Laster for his tenacity in getting this done for ESD 3. Congratulations. Thank you.
All right. We got a motion and a second.
Yes,
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carries. Number 38 is approval requested from property tax refund for $354.73 to Mark and Jenny Hobson. This is due to a miscalculation of the property tax discount proration by the appraisal district.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion made, seconded, discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carries. Number 39 is tax refund application for the following.
Move for approval A.
Second.
Motion made, seconded, discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carries. Number 40 is Commissioners Court minutes for the following dates.
Move for approval A through C.
Second.
Motion made, seconded, discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carries. Number 41 is budget amendments.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion made, seconded, discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carries. Number 42 is personnel change status.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion made, seconded, discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carries. Number 43 is payment of claims.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion made, seconded, discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carries. We will skip down to number 46, which is an acknowledgement of monthly reports submitted April of 2026. Number 47 is acknowledgement of the FY 2025-2026 budget to actuals by fund as of April 13th, 2026, and acknowledgement of the FY 2025-2026 contingency budget to actuals by fund as of April 13, 2026. Number 48 is acknowledgement of the monthly reports from the county auditor for October 2025 and November 2025. 49 is acknowledgement of the FY 2026 committed emergency fund calculation, increasing the committed emergency fund calculation by $2,271. Well, that's $2,271,442 to, that seems wrong, but $42,271,886 per resolution 2413. And then in 50 is an acknowledgement of the Brazos County Sheriff's Office SB 22 Rural Law Enforcement Grant expenditures in the amount of $324,445 for the following: 2026 Ford 550 18-foot mobile command crisis negotiation vehicle and equipment. 51 is announcement of interest items and possible future agenda topics. Hearing none.
Judge, real quick, if we could go to a consent agenda.
You know, I was exactly thinking the same thing after going through that. Commissioner, thank you. That's a good idea.
That would save us a lot of time.
It really would.
And that way, if there's one thing that somebody wants to pull off, they could pull it off and talk about it.
I agree. Okay, any other announcement or interest item, future agenda? We will move back up to number 44 and convene an executive session pursuant to the following, and I'm going to read these in the order that they're listed, but we're actually going to take them in a different order. We'll go 1, 4, 2, and 5 when we actually have the discussion.
I'm going to get a head start.
Okay, yeah, it took you a little while to get there. Okay, convening an executive session pursuant to 1 Texas Government Code 551.0761 for deliberation regarding critical infrastructure facility. 2 is Texas Government Code 551.0711A to consult with an attorney about pending and contemplated litigation and/or a settlement offer. We're not going to have, we don't have anything on number 3. So we'll be skipping that one. Number 4 is Texas Government Code 551.0711B to consult with an attorney about pending or contemplated litigation and/or a settlement offer. 5 is Texas Government Code 551.0725 to deliberate business and financial issues related to a contract being negotiated. Is there a contract? We're going to have to.
Yes, Judge. And I've rendered an opinion, I've submitted to the court that it would be detrimental to the position of the county if the court deliberated this contract in open court. I'd ask that the court take a vote and it be unanimous in order to take this contract up in executive session.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made, seconded. All in favor, raise your right hand. It's unanimous. Okay, motion carries. And so we're going in, let me look back and see, make sure we're, 1 is first, and it's Aubrey, Ed, Andrew, Eric, Kevin, Katie, and the Commissioner's Court. And then we will, the second one would be Aubrey, Ed, Andrew, Prathna, Joe, Bill, and Nina, and Katie, and of course the court. And the fourth one is Aubrey, Ed, Andrew, Marcy, Nina, and Katie, and the court. And then 5 is Aubrey, Ed, Andrew, Nina, Katie, and the court. And we're going to start out with number one. And the time is 11:52:45. I'm not sure whether we'll reset, take a break somewhere in there, because I don't know how long these things are going to take. So we may come back out and recess and go to lunch and then come back for the remainder. We'll see about that. Okay. 11:53.
am freezing.
We're going to come out of executive session. First, that number three, we actually are going to discuss that, or have discussed that number three that was on there, which was Texas Government Code 551.071, to consult with an attorney about pending or contemplated litigation and or settlement offer. So that one it was listed, and I had said we weren't going to discuss it, but we did. So I want to confirm that on the record. What we're going to do is recess. We have dealt with, we've got two more which are lengthier executive sessions, and so we're going to recess. And then come back after lunch at 1:30 after we eat lunch. So it's 12:17, and